Hi you guys, it's Rhiannon and we are going to do another hashtag. I have been loving these hashtags. We're going to do a VR response to Amethyst Ascension's hashtag 2021 card reader FAQ, inquiring minds want to know. So I got really organized on this one because she asked a lot of really good questions. I think 30 questions. So I went ahead and snapshotted them from her description and then printed them out. And I don't ever drink a beer when I'm reading, but since I'm not technically going to be reading, I'm just going to be talking. I am enjoying a beer. It's Friday night and I just got done working, so I'm going to enjoy a beer. We're going to hang out, and I hope that anybody that watches this does their own video response to this hashtag and go follow Amethyst Ascension if you're not already. She does a lot of really good videos. And I just found her like 2 weeks ago with the hashtag you in the tarot hashtag. So, okay, here we're going to get into it. Number one, what is your favorite reading system to use? So like Rider-Waite-Smith, Thoth, Mercier. I don't have a Mercier deck, so I definitely cannot really comment on my thoughts or opinions on that deck. I am definitely a Rider-Waite-Smith girl for work. So, well, this is Morgan Greer, but it's still more of a Rider-Waite-Smith style. These are the decks that I always have on my desk. My Radiant Weight, I think this one is. This one and this one are my work decks. And I have tried working with other decks for work, and I can't. So for Thoth, I love Thoth and I'm studying Thoth, but I consider Thoth, you know, everybody says it differently. I consider that my study for my own personal tarot journey. Okay, so for instance, let's see what books I have here. The Thoth Tarot, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. If you are wanting to study Thoth and you're having a hard time because it is very, 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 very deep, most people get the Thoth book. The regular Thoth book, or Book of Thoth. But I recommend starting with this one. So Lon Milo DuQuette. So I do study Thoth. And also another YouTuber that I recommend that did a really cool Thoth study group on the summer school through Ethany Dawn Tarot Summer School. What's his name? He's really good looking. He has a girlfriend, but that doesn't mean I can't say he's good looking. You guys, what is his channel? Yeah, but he taught a Thoth class for Ethany Dawn's summer school. I recommend that. So anyway, for my personal tarot journey, because I like to study Hermeticism and the occult, definitely Thoth. But I don't read for other people. So for divination and for fortune telling, I use RWS. Okay. Now that I just went and made a mess out of all these books. Number two, what is my favorite type of reading to receive? Well, I don't get readings very often, and I never really have. I'm very much a skeptic, and I just don't. I'm a control freak too, and when other people try to look into my energy or my life, I am not comfortable with that. So I really don't get a lot of readings, and if I do, they tend to not be tarot. So I'll maybe let an astrologer, you know, do my chart, or I get other types of modalities of readings. I don't necessarily let other people read tarot for me. But what she means by that is like love, career, past life, law of attraction. I guess I would say past life, but again, I don't let other people read me. Number three, what is my most common reading that I do? Daily poll, weekly reading, monthly reading, or client readings. Well, for me, it's definitely client. And this is going to kind of jump ahead on another one. I am a professional reader. I work on several different psychic hotlines and apps full-time since 2019, February of 2019. Before that, I did work professionally in person, doing in-person readings at a little shop in my local area. I pretty much started out reading other people professionally, and I tend to think that there's two types of readers. There's people that are going to read for themselves, and they're more like, they are more, it's like a philosophy, it's more of a psychology, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. And then there's people that are just meant to be reading for other people, and I was just that. So I definitely, the most common reading I do is for clients, but it's a love reading. Like I work on the hotline, so 99.9999% of all readings on hotlines are love readings. In fact, I coach other tarot readers to learn how to apply, and I have been very successful myself, and I have helped other people be very successful. So if you're watching this, you're most likely a tarot reader. If that's something you've been interested in, you should message me and we can set up a coaching. But I would say love readings for sure for other people are the most common reading that I do. For most common reading that I do for myself, which I don't read for myself very often, I study the tarot for myself. I study the Thoth system, but I don't read for myself. And then I read for other people. But I do some daily polls. No, not daily. Like full moon and new moon. Okay, number 4. What is my most favorite reading to give? So even though the most common reading I give is a love reading, my most favorite type of reading to give is career oriented or life path. I would call it a life path, to help people identify really what they're here to do, to shine and to step into their own power, which is a little bit more of like a coaching type thing, but using the tarot as a coaching tool. That is my most favorite, whether on the hotlines or in person. And number 5, what's my reading style? And what she means by this is, like she was saying, that she calls herself an intuitive reader. Some people call themselves a psychic reader. Wait. Maybe that's not this question yet. What is my reading style? Meaning intuition, combination of both. Oh, meanings. So what she means is, do I go by the book or do I go by my intuition? Similar to Amethyst Ascension, I had to learn the meanings by the book. I was not able to just, and I really don't think that, I think if you're just going to go off of just intuition alone, then you should just work with oracle cards, because that's what they're for. For me, learning the meanings and studying different tarot books is more about the tradition, honoring the tradition, honoring those people that come before us. I mean, this is only like probably a third of my tarot books. I have a ton of tarot books. So I definitely learned, and I will say that I know this isn't one of the questions, but I'm going to add it. My favorite tarot book is not maybe what you would expect. I have the Holistic Tarot. I have all the ones you would think of. I have Rachel Pollack and all the ones you would think of, but my favorite is this one right here. It's called The Complete Guide to Tarot by Eden Gray. It's old. I only like to purchase really old tarot books. Like these ones are from like the 70s. These are from Eileen Conley. I just find that books that are written now are mostly plagiarized information, first of all. And I like to be very traditional. I like to honor the traditions. So I definitely learned the meanings first. Now that I know the tarot, also similar to Amethyst Ascension, like there are certain cards that only mean what they mean to me most of the time. For instance, because I work on the hotlines and I do so many love readings and twin flame readings, one card that I look at very differently than most people, I'm going to try to find it, is the Two of Pentacles. So when I see the Two of Pentacles, if I can find it. When Two of Pentacles, and I love this Morgan Greer version because it's borderless and I just love it so much. But when I see the Two of Pentacles, I see twin flames, because you've got the twin pentacles surrounded by the infinity sign. So to me, twin flame is the two of pentacles, but I still know the regular meaning of it, right? So yes, I am intuitive reader, but I know the meanings, and kind of skipping ahead, I also know the reversed meanings because I'm a reverse reader. Okay. Number 6, do I read for others or just myself? So yeah, I already answered that. 99.9999999% of the readings I do are for other people. I rarely read for myself because it's hard to be objective. And it's like, what's the point, you know? That's why I think I enjoyed that You in the Tarot hashtag, because I actually wasn't expecting to get such deep meanings. And so I'm excited to do some other of those hashtags because it's so hard for me to read for myself. I need a really strict spread or, you know, thing to do. So sorry. And then she said, do you ever plan on reading more books? So yeah, I already read further. Number 7, how long have I been reading? So I wish I knew how to edit, you guys. I would stop this right now, but I don't. So I actually picked up my first tarot deck back in 1996 or 97, which was the original Mythic Tarot. And I just was like so drawn to it. I was raised Mormon, LDS, and which is kind of like Christian, but like very, very strict. We certainly did not grow up around tarot or anything mystical, and so I was kind of afraid of it, like kind of like a Ouija board. I was kind of afraid of it, but I was drawn to it, and I literally had no idea what I was doing, and I just was drawn to that system. And for those of you guys know, it came with the cards, and it came with a cloth, a black cloth that you could wrap them in, as well as it had like the Celtic cross spread on it and a book. And I bought that, and I tried to study it, and I did all the things, and I slept with it, and I shuffled it, and I tried to bond with it. And we didn't have the internet like we do now. So really, to learn tarot back then, you needed to apprentice, and you needed to find somebody that was older than you that was willing to apprentice you, which is interesting because that's what this book is called. It's called Tarot, a New Handbook for the Apprentice. So that's what you would be. You would be an apprentice. And I didn't know anybody that read tarot. And so I kind of just ended up putting them to the side, and then getting married and having kids and being a mom and doing all that. But then my real spiritual awakening started, and I did yoga, and I did transcendental meditation, and I started learning about law of attraction. And I was always an avid Oprah Winfrey watcher. I watched Oprah every day, even though I was like even in high school and in my early 20s. So I read the law of attraction right when it came out. And, you know, Oprah always had like Deepak Chopra and different like spiritual gurus, Gary Zukov, and what's the German guy's name that wrote the book, A New Earth. I was always into spirituality, and I feel like that needed to happen, is that I needed to build my spiritual self before I could read the tarot. And for people that are learning tarot, I think that yes, tarot books are important, but it's also important to learn other things that you think are not necessarily related. So like learning other things that are in the world of spirituality or personal growth will help you more than maybe just studying like a random tarot book. So anyway, that's when I got my first tarot deck, was in 96, 97. But then it didn't come back around to me until 2014. I picked up some Oracle decks. I had never been interested in Oracle decks, and the Oracle decks just literally clicked with me. I didn't have to try. I was like, I could just use my intuition. That taught me to start trusting my intuition. And then that led to me being like, okay, well, maybe I should pick up my tarot deck again. And I tried to find that mythical oral, I tried to find my original Mythic Tarot, and I couldn't find it. So I bought the newer version, the purple copy, and still it just did not want to work with me. So I ended up trading an old friend of mine for her. She wanted the Mythic Tarot, and she had been gifted by her mom the regular Rider-Waite, this one right here. So we traded, And then this was the deck that just clicked with me. It just clicked. But I did end up taking a tarot course in 2015 that was kind of associated with an essential oil group called Blossoms United. And it was okay. And so technically I'm a certified holistic tarot reader, but I think those type of certifications are bullshit, to be honest. So I've learned from my own study and from reading, for reading for other people. So I'd say I've been a reader really since 2015, but first tarot deck 96, 97. Okay. Number 8, do I prefer tarot or oracle, and why? Definitely, I do prefer tarot now because it's my income. It's what I do for a living. I do readings for people as a living, and then I coach people that do tarot for a living. So it's my lifeblood. And the more you work with tarot, you'll just understand, like, it's just a thing, and it's more challenging, and I like a challenge. But oracle will always be close to my heart because it's just so loving and gentle and intuitive, you know, and I love that. But because I'm such an anal person and I'm so Saturn oriented and I like rules, I like tarot because I like the structure of it. So I would say I am more tarot for sure, but I still love oracle. Do I use layering in your readings? What she means is, do I include astrology, numerology, angel numbers, etc.? Yes. Definitely. I use a lot of astrological associations, especially with the court cards and for timing and timelines. I do numerology more so, I would say, with oracle cards for whatever reason. And yeah, definitely astrological associations very much in tarot. That's why I do like the Thoth system, because it does give you those astrological associations right on the card. But, you know, not a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith systems do. But I found one that's kind of in the middle. It's kind of a unique system. It's called Tarot of the Spirit. And it's a Kabbalistic deck, so it's very much more closer to Thoth, but it doesn't have the cards that are swapped, like, you know, in the Thoth system, their number 11 card isn't the same. So their strength card. So their number 8th card is really the justice card. And their justice card is the strength card. So they've got some things that are different in the Thoth system, but in the Tarot of the Spirit, that they have all of those same Kabbalistic, because I'm also studying Hebrew, and the Tree of Life, the Sephiroth. So I like the Tarot of the Spirit of the Tarot. I always mix them up. Those are put away right now and I don't want to dig them out. But anyways, I do like the astrological associations, so I do layer, yes. Number 10, how do I label my reading practice? This is the one where she was like, people calling themselves intuitive readers versus psychic readers versus fortune tellers. And she wanted to know if there was any advantages or disadvantages, liability standpoint. Now, because I'm a professional reader and I work for, you know, like, I've done thousands and thousands of readings. On one app alone that I'm on, I've done over 5,000 readings. I have over 2,000 reviews on just that one. So I've done thousands and thousands of readings. Liability wise, if somebody's going to try to sue you, the only thing that can cover your ass is being an LLC, which I am, or whatever, like setting it up so that you're limited liability or having insurance. The nice thing about those psychic apps and hotlines is that it puts the onus on the querent. They basically, before they're even able to get in front of you, they have to sign something in the terms and conditions that say that they understand that this reading is for entertainment purposes only. So if you're going to be a professional reader, I recommend having somebody type you up some type of consent form where they sign it saying that they understand that this is for entertainment purposes only. So that way, that's going to cover your liability. Whether you call yourself intuitive or psychic has nothing to do with the liability. It's a smart question. I'm glad you asked it. But somebody that's going to sue you could care less what you call yourself. Psychic and intuitive is the same thing. But you're absolutely right. People don't understand the difference between a medium, a psychic, an astrologer, a reader, a tarot reader. So honestly, you should just call yourself whatever feels right to you. I personally do call myself a psychic reader, but I'll say professional psychic reader because I want them to know that I am professional and that, I have done this for a lot of different people and for a long time. And psychic because, yes, I am pulling, I would read something different than somebody else. And yes, that is the same thing as intuition, but sometimes I'll just know things. I'm claircognizant and certain things just come through different ways at different times. But for the most part, your customers are not going to have a clue what any of that means. So don't overthink it. But if you're looking to cover yourself for liability, then you should be covering yourself with some type of waiver or some type of consent that they sign. Okay. So for me personally, I'm fine with fortune teller as well. I am telling the future. Some people won't do third party or future. I do. If I wasn't willing to do third party, I would not be making any money. Okay. I'm fine with that, but everybody has their own set of, ethics and morals, and I wouldn't judge anybody else's, but so yes, I would consider myself a fortune teller and a psychic reader. How did I learn to read tarot? So I already kind of talked about that. I bought the Mythic Tarot, tried to study it that way, but it just wasn't clicking. And so I really learned to trust my intuition through reading Oracle, doing lives on Facebook. I literally just jumped right in and was like, well, we're going to do this. And I loved it. And I went live, and I think it's my Aries rising and my Leo moon. I'm just very confident and I'm not afraid to just put myself out there. So that's how I started to learn. And even when I look back at like my tarot knowledge, when I started on the hotlines doing tarot, I didn't know shit. But talk about a crash course and learning something. You're going to learn when you're doing and you're using a tool, every single day for a year, you're going to learn that tool. So I don't think there's a better way to learn, honestly, than doing professional readings. It's a crash course, but you're going to learn. And did I buy my first deck? Yes, I was not gifted a deck. I bought my first deck, and I totally think it is special if you were gifted a deck. I think more so before. I think now that everybody knows that, I don't think asking your mom to buy you a deck is special. I mean, it's cool. It's a special memory, but I don't think that means you're chosen. But like 20, 30 years ago, I do think it meant something because, again, it meant that you were going to be apprenticed and you were being chosen to enter that apprenticeship program. So I still think there's a little something special, but I bought my own and I don't feel any less powerful or any less chosen or any less of an initiate than somebody who was gifted their first deck. Number 12, as a reader, do I use the images or go by the meanings? Both. And do I cleanse my deck before using it? If so, how? Yes, absolutely I do. Every deck, even whether it's new or used, I use a combination of things. Usually, sage or my own blend of incense, but I also use sound. Amethyst said that same thing. She has a tuning fork. I have this little set of tinctures that I use, and I just go... Oh, that was a good one. 3 times over the top. I'm a Reiki master, both Karuna and Usui. So a lot of times I'll clear my decks with Reiki. Regularly after I've been using a deck for a while and I can tell that it starts to feel heavy and it's not giving me the same clarity that it normally does, I reset it. To reset it, I put it back in order. So, from the Fool through the Judgment card or through the World, and then all the suits in order. So that's how I reset a card. I put it back in order and then I re-clear it. So I would call that resetting a deck, but yes, I do clear and cleanse and reset my deck when I start, and then when I feel like they start to get heavy when they've accumulated so much energy, which my decks do because I'm using them so much. Do I have a special way to bond with my deck? And that's kind of 14 and 15, because then she asks if you interview your deck, which that's usually how I bond with my deck, is I interview it. But I feel like the clearing and the cleansing of the deck is also a bonding ritual. So that's why I do it as well. But I don't put them out in the moon. I don't sleep with them. I just clear them and just start using them, interview them, because I like to see, like, are they going to want to work with me professionally? I've had so many decks when I interview them and I ask, are you okay being used to read professionally? And they're like, no. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to use you. So yes, I interview my decks. Some or all. I would say some. I haven't done all. There are decks that I just buy just to collect as collector's items that I don't ever plan on using. Number 16, I loved this question. Do I believe that decks have different personalities and different decks read differently? Absolutely, I do. I know it for a fact. You can just tell. There are so many decks that, just like I said, they do not want to be used for readings, or they don't want to be used for money. They don't want to be used for money. So I could maybe use that to read my sister or a family member, but they don't want to be used for money exchange. There are decks that are sassy. There are decks that are always going to be loving. And I absolutely, yes, decks have different personalities. 17, do I read the guidebooks? Usually no. That goes for Oracle and Tarot. Usually no. But there are some that are amazing, like the Light Seers from the indie deck. I have the indie deck, but it's put away because I don't use that one, so I just use the mass market. But for anybody that has both, they'll know that the mass market guidebook is nowhere near as amazing as the indie version, the Kickstarter. In fact, I had reached out to Chris Ann to ask if she could sell the full guidebook, and she's like, I want to so bad, but she's in some kind of contract that says that she can't. So that original bigger guidebook for the Light Seers Kickstarter, I love that one. Of course, Book of Maps. Like, if it's a bigger, juicier book, then yes, I normally will. But like little white books, no, I don't even touch them. And then I just buy my own other tarot books that I study separately. What is my favorite way to store my decks, bags, wraps, bookshelves? I should have turned it around, but you guys that have followed me for a long time know I found a really cool wooden box with separate sections in like the garden section of TJ Maxx like years ago. Now a bunch of people are building them and selling them on Etsy. So what I call my working decks, I keep right here on my desk in this little wooden box, and they're compartmentalized by like Oracle, Tarot, Twin Flame, and then I keep a little selenite stick into each compartment to keep them clear. And then the decks that I'm not using, I buy wooden crates from Walmart, and I have an altar built on the top, and then I keep the decks stacked inside the crate. So that's how, and I store them in their boxes. But I agree with Amethyst Ascension also. I can't stand a tuck box. So if it comes in a tuck box, I'll put it in a bag. But if it has a nice magnetic sturdy box, I'll just keep it in the box. Do I pair my decks with a crystal? If so, do you prefer a certain type of crystal? And I do, in the sense that, like I said, I keep that selenite in there. I'm also a certified crystal healer, so I work with a lot of crystals. But I just always have crystals everywhere around me, so I can't say that I pair them specifically, but like Amethyst brought up how labradorite is good for psychic ability, so of course I have this nice labradorite here. When I have a deck just sitting on my desk and I'm not using it, and it's not in the container or the box, I always set a crystal on top of the deck to keep it clear. So I have clear quartz crystals. I love skulls, so I always have a lot of skulls, and I'll just set a skull on top of the deck. But I always have crystals everywhere with me all the time. So yes, I pair them, but I just pair them with my entire life, if that makes sense. Although I did read one time in a book, I can't remember which one, that it actually said, and I thought this was an interesting one, if you want to keep a crystal in like a bag or in a box to keep the deck clear, carnelian was the stone that it recommended. And I would have thought it would have been like black tourmaline or something. But you want to keep it creative. Black tourmaline, black obsidian, black kyanite sometimes can be pull too much. It's very protective, but it can pull too much. And so the carnelian, by keeping it with that, it's going to keep it so that when you pull it out, it's ready to work and, still got its creative juices flowing, Okay. Number 20, do I read reversals? If so, why and why not? Absolutely, I do. In fact, I'm teaching a workshop on reversals tomorrow. Why? They just came to me naturally. I didn't have to try to force it. I couldn't help it. And even in systems like Lenormand that don't believe in reversals, I can't help if a card's in reverse, I'm gonna read it in reverse. You know, there are a lot of oracle decks, like the Colette Baron Reed decks, almost all have reversed meanings in her guidebooks, but even if I have an oracle deck that doesn't, I still read it in reverse. Why? Because it just comes to me naturally. I can't explain it. And that's why I feel like if it's not coming to you naturally, don't force it. You don't need to. The tarot is a complete system if you don't want to. But I think the most important thing is consistency. If you're going to read reversals, I think you should be reading them all the time. And if you're not going to read them, then you should never read them. Consistency is more important in your practice than how you do it. There's no right or wrong way, but you should be being consistent. And that's my opinion. Do I have a certain way to shuffle? Not really. It depends on the deck. If it's huge, if it's too big, you know, I'll kind of just do the fold in tarot. I usually though just do like this. I don't like a riffle shuffle very often because I don't like how it bends the cards. I don't like that. So I just usually go and I just go till my intuition says stop. I do jumpers sometimes, but usually I just shuffle. I'm asking the question as I shuffle, and then once I get one flyer, I know that I'm done shuffling. I take the first one and then just pull from the top 1, 2 more. I always pull 3 cards. You know, when you're reading on the hotlines and people are paying me anywhere from $5 to $10 a minute, you don't have the luxury to do like a Celtic cross spread or, you know, these kind of spread. You need to be able to give them the information quickly. So for me, that's a 3-card spread. But anyways, so that's how I do it. And I got to be quick because these people want their answers right away. Do I read professionally? If so, shameless plug. So I've already said that a couple times. Yes, professionally in the sense that, you know, I'm on the hotlines, but you guys aren't going to pay me. You guys don't need to pay me $10 a minute. That's what I'm charging on one platform. The platform I'm on the most, I charge anywhere from $4.44 a minute to $5.55 a minute, but they give me a bigger percentage. That's why this is my shameless plug. If you're a tarot reader and you're not making any money, you honestly should reach out to me. I have coached a girl that's doing $10,000 to $20,000 a month. I'm not exaggerating. I personally do $6,000 to $8,000 a month. I could make more, but my energy is limited and I am very limited to the amount of readings I'll do. Like, I'll only read so many people a day and then I turn it off and I don't care. I know I could make more money, but it's not worth it to me to deplete my energy that way. But certain platforms charge you a higher percentage, kind of like a horror house. Like, they make your money, but you have to pay so much to the house, right? So I read professionally, but I also read professionally like one-on-one, and the prices are much cheaper, so you're not paying me per minute like that. You can follow me on Rhiannon Rambles Official on Instagram, and then on Facebook I have Rhiannon Rambles LLC. You can find me and book me there, but I usually put a link to how to book with me in the comments below. That goes for coaching or if you want to read. Most of you guys already read tarot, so you probably don't want a reading from me. But if you want to make money, you should reach out. It can change your life. I've coached, I think, 12 or 13 people now, and it's a life changer. Okay. Do I keep a personal tarot journal? Personal tarot journal? If so, why? No, and I should. And every year, that's the one reading I will do, is every year I will normally do the year ahead spread, which happens to coincide with my solar return spread because I'm a Capricorn December 28th. So I normally do a combined solar return / year ahead. And I always lose the book. So I need to get a dedicated tarot journal, and watching some of your guys' journals, including Amethyst Ascension, so inspiring. I'm not crafty like that at all. And I want that to be able to have and look back on years from now. Like I know that I need to, and I appreciate you guys motivating me to do that. So not yet, but I'm going to. 24, do I have a certain reading environment that I prefer, or can I read anywhere? Yeah, I have my office, so this is my preferred environment, and I almost never leave my house. The pandemic really didn't change my life because I am a hermit. My office is my sanctuary, and I love it, and I feel safe here, and my dogs, but I can read anywhere. I've read at parties, I've done big parties, I've read at bars, I read over the phone, video call, phone call, chat. So I am very flexible, but I prefer my office. Number 25, can you show us your newest deck? So I haven't unboxed it yet, but Amethyst Ascension has been working with this deck a ton, but I just barely got my Spirit Keepers Revelation deck on Thursday. So I'm conflicted because I want to dig in, but I think I'm going to keep this as a collector's. And for anybody that doesn't know, and I have the Vitruvian edition as well. Like the Vitruvian edition's done. You can never get another deck. You have to buy one from somebody else. With this one, she is going to be printing other copies. So those of us that bought one pre-ordered, what we got was we got the first edition. But there will be more editions, okay? So anybody that doesn't know that, understand, I would recommend you probably keep this one nice. So you guys should have each gotten a certificate of authenticity. And on it, right there, it says first print run. First print run means there will be other prints of this. This one's more valuable because it's the first print and it's got a certificate of authenticity. I got 2291 of 3507. Amethyst has had hers for a long time, so she probably has a really early number. She got 555, I think. That is so cool, by the way. I was like, what? I loved that story. I'm so glad you shared that. But anyway, so I want to dig into it, but I think I'm not going to touch it because I haven't shuffled it or anything, because I'm going to keep it as a collector's item. And then I think I'm going to buy another. Oh my gosh, of course, now I'm dropping them. And then I'm going to buy another deck from her other runs that won't be, but just like how I have the Kickstarter of Lightseers, but I only use my mass market. I'm not going to mess up my, you know, rare copy of the Lightseers that honestly I could sell right now for $400 if I wanted. Same with my Spirit Keepers Vitruvian. I could sell that for $350, $400. So I'm going to keep this one and get the next copy. Anybody that gets these decks knows she puts cinnamon oil on it. So that, and then you guys may have already seen, I just did a walkthrough of my newest Oracle deck, which is called the Unshakable Inner Peace Oracle cards. I won this off Instagram. How exciting. And I did a walkthrough. It's by Shannon Kaiser, and I'm going to be interviewing her in December. So you should be following my Facebook group, Oracle Obsessed, if you're not already. Those are my newest decks. And 26. Do I ever dream in tarot symbolism? Not really. I might. I don't really remember my dreams very often. And so far, not that I've noticed. 26. Do I ever dream? Okay, sorry, I got that one twice. 27. Do I find myself comparing moments and events in our lives with the tarot archetypes all over time or ever? All of the time or ever? Yes, I do. Like to say this is a tower moment, or like, yeah, I don't say all the time, but I mean, yes, there are times that I can definitely compare real life events to tarot archetypes for sure. 28. How often do I read the cards? Daily, weekly, monthly? Daily, because like it's my job. And these, I have regular clients who literally, if I try to take even one day off, they're like, girl, where are you at? I need a reading. I have clients that get 2 to 5 readings a week, and I'm not even kidding. So pretty much every day, but again, not for myself, for other people. What I love about it is that I can travel. I've taken my cards to Hawaii, to Mexico several times, and I can just work on vacation. Am I currently taking a course or offering a course that I would like to share with others? Like I said, I have a course on tarot reversals tomorrow, but I do courses a lot, and they're usually really inexpensive, like $20 to $40 depending on the course and depending on how many people, because I like to keep them small so that if you're a newbie, you can really learn. I do an awesome Oracle beginners class. I'm going to be doing tarot next, tarot beginners, and then I'll do like, you know, I pretty much always have a class and it on Zoom. So again, you should be following me, Rhiannon Rambles LLC or Oracle Obsessed Facebook group. That's where I'll share those classes. 30. Can I offer one bit of advice to somebody new that is coming to Tarot Oracle from my own experience? Yes. From my own experience is don't try to know everything right away. It's going to take time. It's going to take practice. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't pull so many cards. that's the one mistake I see newbies make. They pull so many cards. That's just too much information to decipher. You're going to be confused. So you need to have a very specific question in mind if you want a specific answer. If you have a general question, you're going to get a general answer. And then don't pull too many cards. And have fun and understand that there really is no rules. And it's like literally the whole name of the game is intuition. Trust your intuition. And it's okay to ask questions. And that's why I actually started my Oracle group. To be honest, you guys, I was in some tarot groups where I seen some horrible people and some horrible behavior, people that are so judgmental and mean and rude to newbies. And I was like, this is bullshit. And also people that look at Oracle cards like as if they're a secondhand citizen, which is ridiculous. So I started my Oracle group for people that love Oracle and tarot and newbies and everywhere in between. And so if you're looking for a community, I don't get paid at all to have the Oracle group that I have, but I literally shut it down for like 3 months at the beginning of the year, and people were like so upset. I didn't realize how much it meant to people till I shut it down. And then I was like, I archived it for a little bit because I was overwhelmed. So it's an awesome community, but yeah, don't try to know everything at once. It's a journey. It's the fool's journey. And your perspective is going to change, like the Hanged Man. You're gonna think a certain way about tarot, or maybe you're gonna be a Rider-Waite-Smith fan for a certain amount of years, and all of a sudden Thoth is just gonna come after you. I do also think that about the Thoth crowd. I think that they are kind of uppity. I think that they're better than a lot of people. There are a lot of people in this community. That's a huge community worldwide, and they're very smart. I mean, tarot is a Mercury-based type hobby, right? So it attracts a lot of intellectuals and smart people, and that's amazing. But you can have a different type of approach. You don't have to be so much in your head about it. I find, you know, that I'm the opposite. I'm just very practical about it, and that's why I probably ended up going the fortune teller route, because people that are so analytical, there's no way they could work on the hotlines. You don't have 20 minutes to assess this card before you can give somebody the answer. You just need to be able to give it. So don't overthink it. Don't pull too many cards, and just have fun. So if you guys watched this and you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and also please do your own video response, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.